Hi guys, I'm the Lag Dr. Clay Ballard, and this week's PGA Tour winner is fellow Kentuckian JB Holmes. We're going to talk about how he hits it just so ridiculously far, really smashes the ball with such a short backswing, and I'm going to talk about 3 keys that make his swing work, what he does to play good golf, and how you can incorporate those in your own golf game. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get started, the first thing I want to talk about is JB's backswing, and he's kind of notorious for having a shorter backswing, but what we'll notice is he actually goes a lot farther back than most people realize. What most people are seeing is the lack of setting of the club at the top of the swing. So let's go ahead and compare his motion with Tiger Woods' motion on the right, and we'll compare just the body and the arms, and you'll actually notice that he's really loaded up here, got a good full shoulder turn. You look at JB, more than 90, Tiger also going past 90. We look at Tiger, how he's restricted these hips. Tiger's super flexible. Not everybody will be able to restrict the hips this much and turn the shoulders that far. But JB, all in all, has a lot of separation between the hips and shoulders also. So he's got a good full body turn, and that's really the key for any length swing. Your body is going to turn until it feels as though it's loaded up. So if we can restrict those hips, get a good full shoulder turn, feel like our chest is facing away from the target, our back is to the target, that's going to allow us to get a lot of power no matter how far back our hands and arms go. So really loaded up there. Now the second piece I want you to notice is just how much the hands have gone back. So he's actually got his hands pretty high and around his body, whereas if we look at Tiger, Tiger actually has a shorter backswing with his arms. Now what most people are noticing is the angle between the right forearm, or both forearms, and the club. Now JB has very little wrist set. This is something you see that would be similar to a Sergio Garcia that doesn't set the club very much in the backswing. If we look at Tiger, that angle between the forearms and the club is much tighter, so he's just getting a little bit more wrist set. So in reality, JB has a good full shoulder turn, big backswing with the body. It's just the wrist set that's going to make his swing seem a little bit shorter. Now in the downswing, we'll notice that he gets into a very similar position that all PGA Tour golfers get into. Now he's loaded this club up and he's allowed that club to get that angle or to build some lag here, and very similar to what you'd see with Tiger. Tiger has, you know, tons of lag, but we'll pause both forearms when they're parallel with the ground, and now we can see they have roughly the same amount of wrist set. So JB creates that wrist set in the downswing, just like we talk about in the downcock video, the downcock drill that's in the downswing section of the website, and that's what allows him to get all this power with a relatively short, or the appearance of a short backswing, and then at coming through impact really releases all this to get tons of energy and really just bombs the ball, hits it really hard. The next piece I want to look at is his grip, and we'll talk about one thing that may not be what you've been told when it comes to your grip, and what type of shot to play with a strong grip. Alright, so we'll notice at address that JB has a pretty strong grip. You notice that his hands are turned quite a bit to the right. The V's in his fingers are pointing outside the right shoulder, or toward the right shoulder and outside the right shoulder. That's a pretty strong position. If we're comparing that with Rory McIlroy here on the right side of your screen, you'll see that his V's are more pointed toward the center of his body in a much more neutral position. So you can definitely see the difference in the hands. Now one thing that I would personally recommend for people with a strong grip like JB is to play a fade. That sounds a little bit counterintuitive. You know, the stronger the grip, the more we should be able to roll that club over. But that's kind of the point here. You know, you'll notice that he's coming in with this face still pretty open, even though he has a very strong grip, and he is rotating this to release, but he mostly plays a fade. I know he tried to get into playing a draw for a while, and his game didn't quite produce the results that he was getting when he played a fade. He played the fade all through college, mostly a fade, and that really allowed him to play very well. And the reason for this, what I believe, is people with a strong grip, it's so easy to rotate that face over and start snap hooking if you start to play a draw with a strong grip, that I would recommend more of a hold off type swing. Now ideally what I would mostly recommend is to get a nice neutral grip, more along the lines of what you're going to see with Rory McIlroy. That's going to allow you to release the club as hard as you want without worrying about snap hooking the ball. So we can see this is a nice neutral grip here. We'll go ahead into the swing, and in the downswing particularly, let's go ahead and watch through impact and watch how much rotation he gets with those forearms, and he doesn't have to necessarily worry about hooking the ball because his grip isn't really strong. So for those of you that struggle with hooks, if you have a stronger grip, that's one of the first things that I'd look at, is make sure you get in a much more neutral position like what we see here with Rory. Now lastly, one thing I want to talk about is coming into impact and hitting the ball on the proper spot on the face. And this is something that a lot of people never really think about. But when you're coming into impact, you actually want to make contact with the ball just above the sweet spot. So we'll notice here how JB's making contact a little above the center of gravity. If I mark the center of this ball, we're going to see that's toward the top of the face. And what this allows you to do is launch the ball a little bit higher and get lower spin. So a high launch, low spinning golf ball is going to get you maximum distance. JB swings around 121 miles an hour on average, I think is his PGA Tour average. But he actually gets a little more distance than most people with that type of swing speed because he's getting the proper launch. And that really helps it out. So for those of you that are struggling, maybe getting a little too much backspin on the ball starts to float up on you, you may be hitting it too low on the face, and I would recommend hitting it maybe a quarter inch or a half inch above the sweet spot to really help get that high launch and low spin for maximum distance. That can result in 10 or 15 extra yards without having to change anything in your swing, just hitting it on a better spot on the face. Alright, so for those of you that are joining us on YouTube, I'm going to attach a preview of a video on the launch angle. Now a lot of you would like to hit the ball a little farther without changing your swing, and we're going to talk about how launch angle and spin rates can really help you to pick up distance just by making contact on the proper part of the face, and also maybe a few tweaks to your setup. That's really going to help you to get the ball up in the air, launching higher, lower spin, and getting more distance. I'm going to attach a preview of that video. If you want to watch the full thing, just click the link on the screen or down in the description. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, post your comments below. I can't wait to talk to you guys very soon, and good luck with your golf game.
Today we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of getting maximum distance out of your driver, and it's one of the most misunderstood concepts. It's been discussed a lot over the past several years as driver manufacturers have began to understand the dynamics and been able to quantify this and measure it using high-tech launch monitors that we have at our disposal today. And this one is going to be one of the ones that has the most dramatic impact on your driving distance today. This is it. So when you understand and begin to work with these concepts, you will hit the ball further today. If you're not already doing this, you will absolutely hit the ball further today, and it will make a dramatic difference in how you play the game. So what we're going to talk about today is basically the launch angle. By definition, is simply the angle at which the ball leaves the tee. So if it's launched very, very flat, it would have a 0 degree launch angle, and as it goes up, we go up into 10, 12, 14 degrees of launch. It doesn't matter necessarily what the loft on your driver is. It has a significant impact on it, but it's not the only defining factor.